Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the best FORTNITE console settings. Now, of course, I want to start this off by saying it's going to be subjective, obviously. Some people play better on higher sensitivities while some play better on lower, but this is just going to be from my perspective, what I've seen, what I feel like makes me a better player. So let's just sort of jump into it right here. As you can already see, mouse sensitivity, mouse ADS, and mouse scope sensitivity are right down to 0.1. 0.01, just because we don't use a mouse and keyboard, so we don't really need to worry about it. I just like to sort of put it all the way down, sort of out of the way. As you can see, we have our X and Y sensitivity at 6, and this I've found is the perfect sort of sensitivity where it's not too fast, but it's also not too slow, so it's not going to mess with your aim. So it sort of feels like you have a slower sensitivity, so you have better aim, and it doesn't feel too slow for building, so you can actually build forts pretty quickly. And I know there's going to be some people who play on 8, 9, and 10 who feel like 6 is too slow, and that's totally okay. If you're good with that sensitivity, stick with it. But this is going to be for the average player who just wants to get better. I definitely recommend trying out 5 or 6 at the very least. Anything below that and you're kind of too slow and you're not going to be hitting your shots, and you just can't turn around quick enough. If someone starts shooting you in the back and you're playing with 4 sensitivity, 3 sensitivity, it's not going to go well. You're just going to end up dying. So 5 or 6 is probably the lowest I would go. Anything lower than that, try and stay away from it. You got to have it a bit higher than that in order to be able to build and play against better players. So with that out of the way, let's go down to our wireless controller ADS sensitivity. I have this at 0.65, anywhere sort of from 0.45 to 0.7ish is probably a good place to start at. Obviously, you can switch it up and tweak it up a little bit based on how you feel. If it feels a bit too quick, you can lower it, obviously, and if it's too slow, you can raise it. But this is sort of a good general place to start. And as you can see, our scope sensitivity is 0.70, and I found that I like my scope sensitivity to be a bit quicker than my ADS sensitivity, just because when you're scoped in, generally, I don't know, it just feels a lot better. That's just me. Some people just play both of them the same. Some people might lower their scope sensitivity a bit, but I've sniped a lot in other games, so I'm sort of used to the higher sensitivity regarding that. But as far as ARs, just any other sort of gun, I like to keep the ADS a bit lower, just so I can have that aim going good for me. All right, so we can move a bit down here. Invert is off. I don't know anyone who plays invert. If you play invert, that's pretty legit. There are some really old games where you had to play invert. I never got used to it personally. Streamer mode doesn't really matter unless you're a streamer. If you don't want to see people's names, that's one option for you. Scale of the HUD. Some people like to make it a bit smaller, just so it's not covering the corners of the screen. Me personally, I don't see a huge deal with it. I don't even really mess with it. I just leave it alone. Spectator count, people just watching in the corner, meh, doesn't really matter. So as far as sprint canceling goes, I like to have this on just in case. You never know, if you have a couple extra bullets in the chamber, it's really nice that I can just sprint quickly, which will cancel the reload animation, and then I can just quickly get into another fight. As far as tap to search, I like having this on because it only requires you to press the button once instead of having to hold it. Toggle targeting off, equipped better items on, aim assist on. I don't know anyone that doesn't have aim assist on. It's just so useful in this game. For reset building choice, this doesn't really affect us just due to our button layout, which we'll get to shortly. And turbo building, I do like having on because I don't really like spamming the trigger buttons. I like just being able to hold it and it'll quickly build it for you. Auto material change, I definitely keep that on. Controller auto run on, auto pick up weapons off. We don't really want that. You don't want to be getting into a gunfight and be sitting on a pile of loot while it's happening and you just randomly pick up a gun that you don't want to use. Vibration off, just because it can mess with your aim when you're getting shot at and stuff like that. Recording the replays, this doesn't really have an effect on gameplay at all. As far as brightness, you can mess around with this. This really depends on your TV. I would just not really follow anyone on this and just mess around with it yourself, as far as it just looks good on the screen. Music volume, stuff like that, not really a big deal. I don't like having that really noisy volume when you first go to the main screen, so I turn down the music volume a bit, but this doesn't really affect gameplay at all, so you don't really need to follow this. The only thing we really need to look at right now is the button layout, which I use Builder Pro, which I would definitely recommend to anyone who's just starting to switch to Builder Pro, just because simply it's probably the easiest way to build in Fortnite. Now, of course, you're going to have the old school guys who started playing when the game first came out, and there's only the standard mode, the standard button layout configuration, which there are probably, they've been playing since the beginning. they are already very comfortable with it. But if you're a new player or if you haven't been playing for that long, I definitely recommend switching over to Builder Pro, simply because it's the best controller layout configuration. It's the easiest to use, in my opinion, and the other ones just aren't as efficient and as well laid out as this one. Alright guys, we're going to wrap up the video here. These are, in my opinion, the best Fortnite console settings. I know there's going to be some variations and stuff like that, but I definitely recommend you guys try this out. If you aren't too sure what you want to do, try out this button layout configuration, try out the sensitivity, and you can tweak it from there. I know there's going to be a bunch of people who say, you know, higher sensitivities are better, lower sensitivities are better, but it's really, at the end of the day, it's whatever feels comfortable for you. Now we're going to end the video here. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Let me know in the comments below what console settings you use, and maybe you can help someone out there. And other than that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and make sure to smash that like button. It really helps the channel, and make sure to subscribe as well to not miss out on anything. And other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.